This story is very meaningful. Everyone should hear it. Listen to Brian tell the story. I stared at the email on my screen, the cursor blinking as if daring me to press send. My resignation letter was short, almost indifferent, but every word carried the weight of 15 years of blood, sweat, and sacrifice. Dad, I am quitting from Taylor & Sons Plumbing, effective immediately. Consider this my 2-week notice, though realistically, you'll be lucky if I make it through the week. I plan to pursue other options. Sincerely, not really, Ryan Taylor. I hovered my finger over the mouse. One click, and I would be free. One click, and I would walk away from a lifetime of being overlooked, of breaking my back for a business that would never be mine, of watching my younger brother Matt get everything handed to him while I scraped by with whatever scraps Dad saw fit to throw me. I pressed send. For a moment, nothing happened. The email disappeared into the digital abyss. But the world outside my tiny windowless office remained the same. The plumbing trucks were still parked in the lot. The office printer still hummed from across the hall, and the faint smell of coffee and engine grease still lingered in the air. But I knew everything had just changed. Then my phone vibrated, once, twice, a flood of messages. Matt, WTF, bro? Mom, Ryan, please tell me this isn't real. Your father is devastated. Dad, 5 missed calls, then a voicemail. You better have a damn good explanation for this. So I exhaled, grabbed my jacket, and walked out of the office without looking back. Oh, 15 years. 15 years of my life gone, just like that. I'd grown up believing that hard work paid off. Dad built this company from the ground up, and I was raised with the idea that if I put in the effort, one day it would be mine. So I did everything he asked. After high school, while Matt barely scraped by in community college, I went to a university and got a degree in business management. I came back, ready to help run the family business, but Dad insisted I start from the bottom. So I did. For 3 years, I worked as a plumber's assistant, climbing into crawl spaces, unclogging toilets, hauling heavy equipment. It was exhausting, thankless work, but I never complained. I earned my master plumber's license, spent nights studying inventory management, scheduling, and customer relations. When Dad finally let me move up, I optimized the entire business. We implemented digital scheduling, better inventory tracking, and follow-up calls. In 2 years, customer reviews skyrocketed from 3.5 to 4.8 stars, and revenue increased by 40%. For the first time, Dad actually looked impressed. Then Matt waltzed in. For years, my brother had been nothing but a party boy, bartending, traveling, making a name for himself as the fun guy around town. But suddenly, he decided he wanted to be part of the family business. Did he know anything about plumbing? No. Could he tell the difference between PVC and copper pipes? Probably not. Did Dad care? Absolutely not. Matt got a cushy office with a window. Dad gave him some bullshit title, Director of Client Relations, and a salary that was almost as much as mine. His job, taking clients to lunch, occasionally posting on social media, showing up at job sites to take pictures of the plumbers, always making sure to include himself in the shot. He came in at 10, took 2-hour lunch breaks, and left by 4 to beat traffic. Meanwhile, I was still stuck in my tiny converted storage closet of an office, running the entire company behind the scenes. But the worst part wasn't the unfair salary, or the office, or the fact that he got credit for my work. The worst part was Julie. Julie had been hired as our new office manager after our previous assistant left. She was sharp, confident, and had an impressive resume. She wasn't like the women Matt usually went for. She had real ambition, real intelligence. In her first week, she restructured the company's filing system. In her second, she recovered $20,000 in unpaid invoices. In her third, she convinced Dad to finally invest in the scheduling software I had been begging for. And for the first time in years, I felt seen. We started having lunch together, talking about work, then about true crime podcasts, then about hiking. One Friday, I finally worked up the nerve to ask her out. She said yes. For a week, I was walking on air. I felt like I had finally won something, that for once, Matt wouldn't be able to take this away from me. Then, 2 days before our date, I walked into the break room and found Julie laughing at something Matt said. Not just polite laughter, Real laughter. The kind I had spent months earning. You should come kayaking with me sometime, Matt told her, leaning casually against the counter. Kayaking. Matt, who once asked me if rivers had those fish things. Matt, who complained about walking half a block from his car to a restaurant. Julie's eyes lit up. I've always wanted to try. And just like that, she was gone. The next day, she found me in the break room. About Friday, she started. I already knew what was coming. Something came up, she said. The following Friday, she went to the same Thai restaurant with Matt instead. Within weeks, they were officially dating. Within months, they were engaged. And then came the final insult. When Dad announced my promotion to senior operations manager, I finally thought, maybe, just maybe, things were changing. With the role came a pay raise, more responsibility, and most importantly, a company truck. It wasn't a fancy truck, just a new Ford F-250. But after years of driving my rusted-out Chevy held together by duct tape and prayers, it felt like a win. Then, at Sunday dinner, Dad made another announcement. Matt and Julie are engaged. Cheers, applause, back-patting. Then Dad turned to Matt. And since you two will need a good family vehicle, I think you should have the new truck. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. When I protested, Dad just waved me off. Don't be selfish, Ryan. Your brother is starting a family. Family comes first. Family. Family had never come first for me. That was the moment I knew I was done. 15 years. 15 years of dedication, of sacrifice, of being the workhorse while Matt basked in the spotlight. So I sent the email. And as my phone kept buzzing with calls and messages, I realized something. For the first time in my life, I felt free. The next morning, I woke up to loud, aggressive pounding on my door. I already knew who it was before I even rolled out of bed. Open the damn door, Ryan! Dad's voice boomed through the hallway. I sighed, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. The sun hadn't even fully risen yet, but here he was, treating this like a full-scale emergency. I took my time walking over, just to make a point. When I finally cracked the door open, Dad shoved it the rest of the way. What the hell is this? He barked, waving his phone in my face. Quitting? Over an email? After everything this family has done for you? I scoffed. Done for me? You mean like paying me less than market rate for 15 years while Matt gets raises for showing up? Or maybe you mean when you gave him my truck? Dad's face turned red. That's different. Matt is starting a family. He needs support. And I don't? I crossed my arms. Who do you think has been supporting this entire business? Who do you think keeps this place running while Matt's out having 2-hour lunches and posting gym selfies? It's not him. It's never been him. Dad exhaled sharply, like he was trying to control his temper. Matt brings in clients, Ryan. He's the face of this company. And I'm what? The workhorse? The sucker who actually does the work while he takes the credit? I shook my head. You don't need me, Dad. You've made that clear. Let Matt run your business. Let's see how long it lasts. I stepped back and started to close the door, but Dad shoved his foot in the way. You walk away from this company. You walk away from this family. I met his gaze, unflinching. If this is what family is, maybe I'm better off without it. And he stood there for a moment, breathing heavily, his eyes searching mine for any sign of hesitation. But there was none. Eventually, he pulled his foot back. He stormed off without another word. The next few days were a mess. Matt showed up at my apartment later that evening, knocking like nothing had happened. Come on, bro, he said when I finally answered. Don't be like this. I leaned against the doorframe. Like what? He shoved his hands in his pockets, suddenly unable to make eye contact. You know, dramatic. I laughed, actually laughed. Dramatic, I repeated. You stole my date. You stole my promotion. You stole my truck. And now that the company is falling apart without me, you suddenly care? Matt sighed. Look, I didn't steal anything. Julie made her own choice. Dad made his. And the truck? I don't give a damn about the truck, Matt, I cut in. It's what it represents. He scratched the back of his head. All right, fine. Maybe things got a little messy, but seriously, man, Dad's losing his mind trying to handle everything. The scheduling is a disaster. Customers are pissed. People are quitting. Just help me out here. I stared at him. He actually thought I was going to fix this for him. You want my help? I asked. He nodded, hopeful. I shut the door in his face. To game. The job search was shockingly easy. Within a week, I had multiple offers. Turns out, spending 15 years single-handedly running a plumbing company makes you pretty valuable on the job market. I accepted an offer from Wilson Plumbing and Heating, a smaller company that was expanding fast. The owner, Dave Wilson, was a straight shooter. He valued hard work, experience, and loyalty. On my first day, he handed me the keys to a brand new company truck. Ford F-350, he said with a grin. Fully loaded, you'll need it. Well, I ran my fingers over the leather steering wheel, already knowing I'd love working there. And the best part? After 2 years, I'd have the chance to buy into the company as a partner. 15 years at Taylor & Sons, and Dad never once considered offering me ownership. After one interview, Dave put it in writing. Meanwhile, Taylor & Sons was crumbling. The senior plumbers I used to work with started texting me updates, and honestly, it was better than any revenge fantasy I could have imagined. Week 1, Dad tried to handle operations himself. He hadn't done the twom in over a decade. He overbooked some crews, left others with no work, and double-scheduled a team for 3 separate jobs in one day. Week 2, overwhelmed, Dad promoted Matt to run operations. Matt, who couldn't even remember to schedule his own dentist appointments, was now responsible for an entire company. Within days, he had lost one of our biggest contracts. $50,000 a year, gone because he forgot to file the renewal paperwork. Week 3, the company's online reviews tanked. Calls weren't getting returned, invoices weren't being sent, customers were furious. The office staff started quitting. By the end of the first month, Dad had to take out a short-term loan just to cover payroll. Meanwhile, I was thriving at Wilson. My ideas were actually heard. Gone. My work was valued. Dave even gave me a bonus after my first week for revamping their scheduling system, something Dad never once did in 15 years. And then there was Kate. I met her on a job site. She was an architect, sharp, funny, no nonsense. On our third date, we went hiking to a waterfall, one I had always wanted to see but never had time for. As we stood at the edge, watching the sun reflect off the water, my phone buzzed. It was another message from Mom. You should come home. We need to talk. I sighed and showed it to Kate. She smirked. Want me to say I told you so? Or would you rather just ignore the moment? I exhaled, looking at the view in front of me, definitely enjoying the moment. A few weeks later, I ran into Matt and Julie at a hardware store. Kate was with me, holding my hand as we browsed for supplies. Julie spotted us first. Ryan, she called, her voice almost hesitant. Matt turned, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. I nodded at them. Hey. Julie's eyes flicked to Kate, then back to me. How have you been? I smiled. Good, really good. Kate, always the pro, stepped forward and shook their hands. Nice to meet you both. I've heard a lot about you. Matt's face twitched. Yeah, all good things, I hope. Kate just smiled. Julie hesitated. The business isn't the same without you. I shrugged. Not my problem. She chewed her lip like she wanted to say more. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I could have been petty. I could have rubbed it in, but the truth was I didn't care anymore. Julie wasn't the problem. She was just another symptom of it. I gave her a nod. You and Kate look good together, she added. I didn't hesitate. We are. Julie nodded like she understood, but I knew she didn't. As we walked away, my phone rang. Mom, I sighed, debating whether to answer. Kate smirked. I can already tell how this ends. I chuckled. Oh yeah? She nudged me. You're never going back. I looked at her, at the life I had built outside of my family's shadow, and knew she was right. Not even for a second. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is walk away. No matter how much time you've invested, how much effort you've given, or how much you've convinced yourself that things will eventually get better. If you're not valued, if you're constantly overlooked, if you're always the one doing the work while someone else takes the credit, then staying isn't loyalty, it's self-destruction. For years, I thought that if I just worked harder, If I proved myself over and over again, my family would finally see me. But some people don't want to see you. Some people are too comfortable taking advantage of you to ever admit they're wrong. And in those cases, the only way to win is to leave and build something better for yourself. There's nothing selfish about choosing your own happiness. There's nothing wrong with refusing to be treated like you're disposable. Walking away from something toxic, whether it's a toy, a relationship, or even a family, isn't giving up. It's setting yourself free. And the irony? The moment you leave, the people who never appreciated you will finally realize how much they needed you. But by then, it won't matter because you'll already be thriving somewhere else. What do you think? Have you ever been in a situation where walking away was the best decision you ever made? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.